In the last two hearings, especially in the first hearing, the Supreme Court took a very stern view. There were observations that were made against Nupur Sharma by the bench concerned, where the court said that she was very irresponsible in the statements she had made earlier. However, looking at the threat to life that she is facing right now, multiple threat and intimidation calls that she has received so far, the court gave the matter a fresh look, a new perspective. The court said that because this matter is presently under investigation, Delhi police is the authority that should investigate all the cases. So all the FIRs clubbed together, Delhi police is going to investigate the matter now. Development number 2, which is about the quashing of the FIR. Nupur Sharma also said in her application that there is no merit in the case that has been filed against her. There is no evidence to prove that she said anything with the motive of inciting violence or as a matter of hate speech. The Supreme Court is of the view that you can take these arguments and the petition and the prayer for quashing of the FIR before the Delhi High Court, and at the Delhi High Court, you can argue there. So as far as quashing is concerned, there is no relief which is coming in for Nupur Sharma, but there is a door which is open for her. She can go to the Delhi High Court and get the relief and argue for the relief that she wants. My colleague Ananya Bhatnagar has been tracking all the developments and that crucial order from the Supreme Court of India. Ananya, take us through what transpired in the court.
Well, yes, the hearing continued for almost an hour or so, and wherein the court has clearly given directions to the Delhi Police's IFSO unit. Remember that IFSO is a specialized unit of the Delhi Police and is clearly directed it to investigate all of the FIRs against Nupur Sharma. In fact, it is also stated that all of these cases shall be clubbed and be brought before the Delhi Police's special cells IFSO unit. And in fact, it is also directed that in case she wants to seek a quashing of all of these FIRs, then it is the Delhi High Court where she has to approach. And what more has been said by the court is that in view of the threat to her life, all of these cases have been now transferred to the national capital, though the West Bengal government is giving out a lot of opposition to the relief that has been granted to Nupur Sharma. The court was inclined to pass this order and has now clearly stated that all of these cases would be transferred to the national capital. Anusha.
Ananya, what was the objection that the West Bengal government had? Ujjwal Nikam is also with us on the broadcast. Catch your breath, Ananya. I'll come back to you. That hearing that went in the court, as Ananya was pointing out, for roughly 1 hour, there were arguments that were made on all the sides. And as Ananya was pointing out, there was an opposition that came from the side of the West Bengal government. Justice Kant and Justice Pardiwala were the judges who were hearing this matter. Ananya, coming back to you, the objections from the West Bengal Government Council. Tell us about that.
Well, yes, the West Bengal government was essentially arguing that the most important impact, the most impact of the statements of Nupur Sharma has been in the state of West Bengal, and hence these cases shall not be transferred to Delhi. And in fact, it was also pointed out by senior advocate Menaka Guruswamy, who is appearing for the West Bengal government, that the maximum impact of her statement is in West Bengal, and the first FIR that has been registered against her in the national capital was actually filed by her itself, and that's the reason that the cases should not be transferred to the national capital. She was seeking as to either the cases are transferred to Maharashtra, wherein the second FIR was registered against her, or to the state of West Bengal, where the maximum impact is there. It was a clear statement made by Menaka Guruswamy that there was a maximum impact and in the state of West Bengal, while the first FIR where she's an accused was in Maharashtra. Delhi is not even on the list of this, and hence the cases shall not be transferred to Delhi. But then the court took a view of the serious life threat that Nupur Sharma is facing and has now transferred all of these cases to the Delhi Police's Special Cells IFSO unit, that is the Intelligence Fusion and Strategic Operations unit of the Special Cell of the Delhi Police. Remember that this is a specialized unit which deals into cybercrime, which deals into social media and all of the kind of the new age media that is existing. It investigates cases relating to the cyber criminals, and hence this is the reason the court noted that it's a specialized agency, and that's why the cases have been transferred to the IFSO unit. The IFSO unit is also given the power to call upon the West Bengal or any kind of the police officials, all the people or the FIR content people in the other states as well, in case they feel it necessary. The Delhi Police's IFSO would be investigating all of these cases, whether the cases are registered in Bengal whether in Maharashtra or any other part of the country, including the national capital. And now she can approach the Delhi High Court seeking a quashing of all of these FIRs. Since all of these FIRs are clubbed, the Delhi High Court is the forum where Nupur Sharma can go and seek her remedy.
Ananya, let's also take our viewers through what were the grounds that Nupur Sharma highlighted before the Supreme Court, that the court should give a fresh look at her petition of clubbing all the FIRs together. In your reportage, you pointed out how the threat to her life and the sort of intimidation she is facing is one of the principal issues that the court looked at.
Well, this is exactly the major reason why, in fact, the Supreme Court has granted her this relief today, and why a July 19 order was also passed. Because remember, this is the same bench which had passed scathing observations against Nupur Sharma. It was the same bench which had called her a loose tongue and, in fact, said that she is responsible for the Udaipur killings. But then later on, when she approached the Supreme Court again on July 19, the Supreme Court, noting that there is a serious threat to her life, not even before the order, but then even after the order of the topmost court of the country, the threats had increased. The Supreme Court took a strong view of it. The same bench of Justice Suryakant and Justice J.B. Pardiwala granted her interim protection from arrest then, and today a big relief has been granted to her by a way of clubbing of these FIRs. Another very important case that has been cited by Mr. Maninder Singh, who was appearing for Nupur Sharma, was of Mohammad Zubair, which the Supreme Court has very, very recently granted. In fact, Justice Chandrachud-led bench had, in fact, noted that there is a vicious cycle going on against the people where multiple FIRs are registered. And this is the particular reason why this case was cited, because there are also multiple FIRs against Nupur Sharma. So this is the reason why Mr. Maninder Singh cited this particular case. And the bench also in its order today noted the observations made in that order of Mohammad Zubair, wherein the bench, while dictating its order today, said that we are adopting one of the views of our coordinate bench, which was indicating to that of Justice Chandrachud's bench, and now the relief has been granted to her.
Ananya, it's also pertinent to take our viewers through who were the different parties in the case. You pointed out to the arguments of the West Bengal government that were made by one of the senior advocates. There is, of course, the argument that must have come from the side of the union. Who were the different parties in the case? What were the arguments of the various states which were before the court?
Well, majorly the arguments were between Ms. Nupur Sharma's counsel, Mr. Maninder Singh, the senior advocate, and Ms. Menika Guruswamy, who was opposing that on the part of the state of West Bengal, while there was also Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, who was appearing for the Union of India, clearly who had not said much about it, but was in the favor of, in fact, clubbing of these FIRs, because he was also appearing for the national capital. He was appearing for the Delhi police, which was actually to investigate this case first, because the first FIR has been registered against her in the national capital itself. So that's the party's sum up that has been there. Advocate Rahul Chitnis was also appearing for the Maharashtra government. However, he didn't argue since the Solicitor General was there, and various other advocates were appearing for the different governments, whether it's West Bengal, whether it's Maharashtra or the state of Uttar Pradesh. Ms. Garima Prasad was appearing for the state of Uttar Pradesh. But the major arguments happened between senior advocate Maninder Singh, Menika Guruswamy and the Solicitor General.
Menika Guruswamy, I'm just going to give a recap of what Ananya Bhatnagar, my colleague who's reporting all the developments from the Supreme Court, is telling us, that largely the arguments were between Mr. Maninder Singh, he's one of the senior advocates, also of course one of the top lawyers, and Menika Guruswamy, who appear on this on behalf of the state of West Bengal. The key argument